There being now 7:03, the regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Orleans is called to order. Present are myself, Michael P. Marnick, as acting tonight as chair, having been appointed elected by the board in that position. Also present is regular member Beth McCartney and associate members Mulligan and Taub, all of whom constitute a quorum for the purposes of transacting business. In the case of any hearings conducted with a quorum of 4, you are notified that all 4 members must concur to take the action. We understand that Mr. Cole and possibly Mr. McCarthy, both regular members, will be.
Matt's not coming. Matt's not coming.
Okay, Mr. McCarthy will be joining us. Also present Sandy Stewart, who's the recording secretary of the zoning board, and the building commissioner of the Town of Orleans, Brian Harrison. First order of business is housekeeping, and that is to consider the approval of the minutes of the meeting of June 17th, 2015, which have been circulated. I'll entertain a motion to accept and approve those minutes.
June 3rd.
June 17th.
Today's June 17th.
I'm just looking at the precept. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at the next agenda.
No, I'm looking at the wrong agenda.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Here we go. Yeah, that's all.
The last meeting was on June 3rd, 2015, and we'll consider the minutes of that meeting which have been circulated. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 3rd, 2015 meeting?
So moved.
And is there any discussion on the motion? Then all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thanks. This looks okay.
You looking at Peeble Road? That's next week's.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. This is for
Yeah.
the meeting of July.
Yeah, she had this for,
July 1st.
she's helping us out by putting it here so we don't have to go to the box.
I don't know what I would do if I didn't have you. There's one item on the agenda, and that is the application of John Martin for a special permit as set forth in General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 9, under zoning, Orleans zoning bylaw, Section 164, Attachment 1, Schedule of Use Regulations, Note 4, for the creation of more than 2,500 square feet of gross floor area in a commercial use in an industrial district. This property is located at 32 Raber Road, Orleans, map number 47, parcel number 33. Let the record reflect that without the hearing having commenced on the application of Mr. Martin, Mr. McCarthy has joined the meeting.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for running behind.
Mr. McCarthy and other members, are you aware of having had any communication with the applicant or any of his agents in connection with this application that would give rise to a conflict of interest or a situation which ought to be disclosed? There's no positive response. Therefore, I declare that the members of the board, the quorum is now 5 members, or 4 of whom need to agree, is indifferent and impartial. Mr. Martin and his agent may proceed.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Peter Canine. I'm the designer of the project, and John Martin is with me this evening. We're here, as the application says, because we're creating more than 2,500 square feet of space. What's being proposed is John has an excavation business that's located on Raber Road, and has been there since 1987, is that right?
Yep, 87.
The purpose of the additions is our space and garage space for heavy equipment, and we're also adding to the office space that's currently on the building, and squaring off that area to the southwest. There's a small addition for parts storage. I think perhaps what might be helpful was
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Like I've never been here.
view of the neighborhood kind of sums up, I think, that for those of you that are intimately familiar with it, as it's indicated on the photograph where the site is, that big pile of dirt is on one half of the property, and John's building is, I think you can see, also to the right of that. I may be dating myself here, but I remember when this provision came into the bylaws, and I believe it was just about the late 80s, for the 2,500 square feet. And the intent of that at the time was to address what was feared to be big box stores coming into town. And I think it may have actually predated the Cape Cod Commission's structure and control for larger projects. And so that was really the intent of it. This is clearly a building that's in the commercial industrial zone. And we feel that we can accomplish this project in keeping within the special permit criteria. And if I'll just go down that list of special permit criteria and address the points. Number one, the adequacy of the site in terms of the size for the proposed use. I think you can see from the photograph that it's very like most of the rest of the neighborhood. The suitability of the site for the proposed use, it exists, and we're basically extending the use. Impact of traffic flow and safety, there really is going to be a de minimis change in that department. The neighborhood visual character, I think that's, again, pretty well established and pointed out in that aerial photograph. As far as adequacy of the sewage disposal and water source and drainage, we've been to site plan. Part of the scope of the work here will be the construction of a new Title V system, because we are putting the building in its current location. So we will be displacing that, but that has been approved, and there are no variances or special relief that's needed for that.
So the trigger was that you want to use space where the current system is?
Correct. Correct. So we're
Unfortunately, right?
we're reconfiguring that, and I think that shows in that plan. Adequacy of the utilities and other public services, again, there's really no significant change here. Likewise with noise and litter, that's all pretty much contained and will continue to be done. Compatibility with the proposed use with the surrounding land uses, again, it's pretty much within the current character of the neighborhood, and very compatible with other businesses in that area. There are no impacts to environmental issues. We're not near any wetlands resources. And the Conservation Commission has signed off on this during the site plan review portion of this permitting. I think that's kind of the long and short of it. I'd be happy to take any questions.
I wonder whether the site plan review committee eventually adopted those meetings, the minutes of the May 20th, 2015 meeting. I know you had included a draft at the time of the application. I wonder if those minutes were made final.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We have a formal site plan review.
Okay. I'd like to hear a fuller description of Mr. Martin's business.
Mr. Barton is in the excavation business. He basically does site work, utility work, by that, water work, drainage, septic systems, cellar holes, is in the materials business. As you can see, there is storage of material that comes and goes. It's, I would say, medium range for most of the excavation businesses around here. Most of it is oriented to typical for construction here, which is by and large residential, although John does a lot of erosion control work, seawalls and that sort of thing. I think you can see on the property he owns a parcel across the street, and I think he maybe can make out some of the piles of boulders. But snow plows, you know, it's again, typical excavation business.
Very well. Are there any questions of the applicant by any members of the board?
Just any discussions with the butters that have come up
No,
in relation?
Fine there.
Everybody's
Yeah,
in favor of,
I've been in favor of them, so they're.
sure. Sounds good to me. Okay, no others.
Is there anyone present wishing to speak in addition in favor of this application? Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition or comment upon the application in any way? There's no positive response to either of those inquiries. I let the record reflect that there's no correspondence received either in favor of or in opposition to Mr. Martin's application. Do you have anything further to add, sir?
I'm sorry?
Do you have anything further to add?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Then, if there are no questions by any members of the board, I'll close the hearing. This is a site is in an industrial district, and it is a commercial use requiring a special permit. Therefore, section 164-38 will control for the findings of fact rather than 164-44, which is commonly used by this board in connection with special permits involving residential properties. Members of the board,
Commercial,
commercial,
properties?
164-38.
Okay.
But it's on page 164-68.
So for commercial regulations, right?
Yep. Got to do that. So members of the board, following public deliberation by the zoning board of appeals, a quorum of qualified members being present and voting, and based on the application of John D. Martin filed May 21, 2015, based also upon the plot plan prepared by Philip Shalamidi, dated May 20th, 2015, and the drawings entitled An Addition of Addition for John D. Martin, 3 pages, prepared by Peter J. Canine LLC, and the minutes of the Site Plan Review Committee of the Town of Orleans for the meeting dated May 20th, 2015. I move that the board adopt the following findings of fact. 1, the subject property known as 32 Raber Road, Orleans, is shown as parcel number 33 on Orleans map 47, and is in an industrial district. The present use of the property is commercial for an excavation business. Proposed use is commercial for an excavation business
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
with, yes,
Do we have to sort of identify within the,
I think we will at the end.
at the end?
At the
Okay.
end of my motion, I think I'm going to tag that in.
Great, thanks.
That attachment A, or attachment 1.
Thanks.
For an excavation business with a building with a total area of 3,903 square feet, I think. Four, the proposal's benefits to the town and the vicinity will outweigh any adverse effects. Period. 6, the board has considered whether the location is, and the proposal is located near uses which are similar to the proposed use. Number next in order. The proposal is not more sensitive to environmental stress from erosion, siltation, groundwater or surface water contaminants than are most similarly zoned locations. Number next in order. The proposed activity, a continuation of the present activity, will contribute to the diversity of services available in the town and provide service to the town and its year-round residents, and will reinforce the employment opportunities available to the members of to the residents of the town. Number next in order. The proposal will have little or no impact upon traffic congestion. Number next in order. The proposal poses no environmental hazard because of the use of storage of explosive, flammable, toxic, or radioactive materials. Number next in order. The proposal will not result in air pollution or excessive noise after the construction of the addition. Number next in order. Site design has been carefully considered and is consistent with the present use and will have no effect on pedestrian movement or vehicular movement or visibility, and will cause no disturbance from such as noise, glare, and odors. Number next in order. The facility design is acceptable under the provisions of Section 164-38. Number next in order. The design is in scale with the buildings in the vicinity. I'm going to take one more look. I think we do have to do we do do 61, 64, 44 also. Number next in order. The proposed use will not be detrimental to the established and future character of the neighborhood and vicinity and will be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Number next in order. The site is adequate in terms of size and suitable for the proposed use. Number next in order. The proposed use is isolated from and will have no impact on the method of sewage disposal, source of water, drainage of water resources. Number next in order, utilities and public services will be adequate for the proposed use. And finally, there will be no adverse impact on groundwater quality and recharge volume and the water quality of coastal and fresh surface water bodies. That concludes the motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
It's a question, Mr. Chairman. Why did you have to do both 38 and?
We did 38 and 44. 164-44C indicates that special permits may be granted when it's been found the use involved will not be detrimental to the established or future character of the neighborhood and continuing, and shall include consideration of each of the following. And as the motion started, Mr. Mulligan, it occurred to me that we do this actually in every combination. And for any commercial special permit, also, since 164-44, which always applies to residential, doesn't apply exclusively to residential. Therefore, we had to do 44, the 44 standards too.
Wouldn't section 38 have assumed all that?
It didn't have all of them. For example, Section 38 did deal with, in some form, an impact of traffic flow and safety, but it did not deal with the method of sewage disposal. So we had to pick up a couple of those findings there. That's my feeling. That's to explain it, the form of the motion.
The way I read the end of the beginning, before the list under 130-64-38 was for us to determine that the public benefits outweigh the to the town outweigh any adverse effects. I think that's where you shift to the general criteria for the special permit.
Yes, because 164-44 doesn't have that particular consideration. The overriding thrust of 164-44 is that the use will not be detrimental to the established, rather than what 38 does. But we've got
It's a good question, because Boston zoning, we wouldn't have to duplicate both sets, but I think here it does. I don't see in 38 the things that are recited in 44, at least not all of them.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I'd like to use this opportunity to educate myself again.
Okay.
This is the first commercial application I've sat in on.
Yes.
Many of the residential applications are because the applicant is trying to expand beyond the permitted footprint for the lot size.
Yes.
Is that also the case in this instance?
Yeah, I think the summary of this application is yes. It is. It's a volume. The applicant is looking for a permit for relief from an area restriction, which is 2,500.
Yeah, there's no pre-existing non-conforming coverage issues here. It's because that there is a threshold that's established within the bylaw which says after you create more than 2,500 square feet, you are subject to a review by special permit by the zoning board of appeals.
Independent of the lot size.
Correct. The lot size,
2,500 is the fixed
That's right.
number that governs structures in the
That's
town,
right.
well, commercial structures.
coverage,
in the town.
it complies coverage-wise.
In terms of percentage, setbacks, all of that,
Correct.
it's not a problem.
Correct.
It's just that you're going
Yeah.
beyond the 2,500.
Correct.
What do you figure is the
And
best
the
use?
current existing is,
It doesn't really say, that's why I asked him.
What did he call it?
Excavating business. It's probably
Because I
contract.
didn't see it in here, that's why I
think
was
it's just
just.
under 2,500 square feet.
just under 25,
Right.
and you're adding something that will bring it to 38
Right.
roughly,
That's right.
Maybe a question worth asking Brian?
which is 12% of the lot
Correct,
size.
of the lot cover, right.
Thank you.
Mr. McCarthy
Chairman,
had a question.
Could I ask a question, Mr. Harrison? When we look at our attachment one and the list of uses within various categories, does one need to sort of match the the appeal with one of them, one of the
Yes.
described items?
Yes, I have to go through that use, find out the one that's most
Since,
closely.
since excavating per se is not among them, we're trying to,
No, I
Contractor yard?
look at it as a contractor yard.
exactly, that was,
This is,
That's how I came to it.
that was Mr. McCarthy's conclusion, too.
Don't think it is an amusement park?
Yeah, exactly.
That's Friday afternoon.
so, no further comments?
Very well, then we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? The motion, none, no opposition, therefore the motion carries unanimously. Therefore, based on the findings of fact, I move that the board grant a special permit pursuant to sections 164-38, 164-43, and 164-44 of the zoning bylaw to run with the land, allowing relief from the controls of 164 Attachment 1, Schedule of Use Regulations, Note 4, all in accordance with the plans. Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion on the motion for the granting of a special permit? Then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries unanimously then. Thank you, gentlemen.
We usually toss back any
Is there
extras.
any further business to come before the board?
Just some signatures.
Very well, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. The hearing is adjourned.